Hi, I'm Antonia, and I'm not good at this. My name is Antonia, and I'm currently a 5th year at UC Davis. I'm studying MPB, which stands for Neurobiology, Physiology, and Behavior. It's quite the mouthful, so a lot of us just prefer to say MPB. And besides that, I'm also an intern for the UC Davis Student Farm. My job this year was to work alongside my really cool teammates, Suhaili and Stephanie, on making YouTube videos for you. Our YouTube channel that we've created is called the Aggies Grow Veggies. The purpose of our YouTube channel is to give you guys fun and educational videos on how to garden affordably and sustainably. The purpose of this video specifically is to show you guys how to propagate plants and how to reuse old soil, so you don't have to go to the store and buy more soil. It can get pretty expensive that way. In addition to that, I'll also be showing you how to care for these specific plants that I'll be using in the video. I hope you enjoy it.
To prepare myself for the yard work I'm about to do.
Step 1. Put on your gardening gloves. This is to avoid getting splinters or hurting your hands in any way. I'm getting the trash can first, just to be prepared for all the dead plants and weeds that I'm about to uproot. So I told you earlier I'd be showing you how to reuse old soil, and here's my super cute friend Marty to help me out. Here I'm pulling out my zinnias and marigolds, which were absolutely gorgeous in their prime, but now that it's the end of their season, they have all died. Alright, that was dramatic. Here are some tips for growing marigolds and zinnias. I'll start first with marigolds. Marigolds are pretty easy to grow and take care of. They thrive in full sun and they can withstand hot temperatures. When watering them, make sure to water them at the base of the plant instead of over the flowers. This is to prevent any sort of mildew. Though it's generally a problem-free plant, some pests and diseases can affect them. So in order to get rid of mites and aphids, you use a mix of dish soap and water and spray them every 2 weeks. To avoid fungi, make sure that you have a well-drained soil, that you're keeping weeds away, and that you're watering it at the base and not on the flower. Water marigolds deeply, but make sure that the soil is dry before you water again. Now for zinnias, it's pretty similar care. When watering zinnias, water them at the base of the plant, and make sure to keep the soil moist, not soggy. Mature zinnias are a bit tolerant to drought, so you can do away with watering them a bit less. They do well under full sun, and to prevent disease, make sure the foliage is dry. You might also encounter pests. Caterpillars are to be removed by hand. Mealybugs and spider mites are to be removed via insecticidal soap. I've attached photos of the marigolds and zinnias from when they were at their best, which again is from spring to fall, and yes, I had a whole photo shoot. Now I'm going to be using some of that leftover soil for my propagations. I've only used this soil once, so it's still good to use a second time since the flowers didn't completely deplete it of its nutrients. The soil has a nice dark color to it, which can mean that it has moisture, but more importantly that it has a lot of organic matter that microorganisms feed off of and release nutrients from. Now that we have the soil, we're ready to plant the propagations we've been waiting for. This is called an Epipremnum aureum, or devil's ivy. Cut at an angle under the leaf, and make sure the cutting has at least 3 nodes, which are small noticeable bumps along the vine. This is a Monstera deliciosa, or Swiss cheese plant. To propagate, take a stem cutting. Make sure your cutting has at least a few nodes and leaves. Put the cuttings in water and wait a few weeks for those roots to grow. This is a snake plant I intend to propagate, but we'll disregard it for this video just because it hasn't grown good enough roots. Notice I used a pasta sauce jar. Check out my teammate Suhaili's video called Upcycled Pots. She'll be showing you how to sustainably reuse and create seed starters in pots. I'm adding Miracle-Gro to add some nutrients to the soil. Nutrients that may have been lost during its first use. Other organic alternatives are useful too, not just Miracle-Gro. So, I told you I'd be giving you some tips about each of these plants. The devil's ivy, or pothos, is a pretty easy indoor plant to take care of. It doesn't tolerate full direct sun, nor does it tolerate complete darkness, so go for a good middle. It grows well in potting mix. Moderate watering is fine. It can be moderately damp, but don't have it soaked. The pothos also loves to be misted with a simple plant spray. Also, feed it fertilizer once a month. Monsteras like bright but indirect sunlight. This is due to them being rainforest plants. Their leaves will burn if there's too much sunlight. Plant them in a pretty deep pot with a bit of drainage. And they like peaty soil, so do your best to find a peaty mix, or you can just add some peat moss to any indoor potting mix. Water them a good amount, especially if the top of the soil feels dry. And finally, to maintain a nutritious soil, give them plant food every week. Here they are a few days later, and they're looking pretty good. I'm excited to see them grow. Thanks so much for watching. I hope it helped, and I'll see you next time.